Hi, ladies. My name is Molly, and I'm thankful for the chance to talk with you for a few minutes about what God's been showing me during the last few months. Do you ever have a season of your life where God keeps bringing one word to your mind? When preparing for this time together, I'd like to say that God kept bringing words like peace, trust, or calm to my mind. He didn't. Instead, I kept coming back to the word striving. I've absolutely spent this season striving, and not in a good way. I don't even know if there is a good way to strive. I'm not sure. I don't really think so. Striving to balance working from home with a young child, doing schoolwork with May from home, cooking, cleaning, health and wellness, quiet time and Bible study, staying connected to friends and family virtually, self-care, with no distinction between work, home, school, or church. I feel like I can't focus all my attention on any one thing at one time. So instead, I'm giving a quarter of my attention to 4 different things all at once and feel like I'm failing miserably at all of it. Striving to make the best decisions for our family on how to safely, responsibly, and empathetically navigate the pandemic as things begin to slowly reopen, while honoring God and loving others. Specifically, the areas outside of what the state clearly mandates, amidst endless information being updated daily as the experts continue to learn more and more about this brand new experience unfolding before us. This has been incredibly challenging for me to try and align our needs and convictions as a family to match the needs and convictions of our close extended family and friends. I tend to swing toward the stricter side of things as we have several immunocompromised members of our close extended family. And I'm also a natural rule follower. I feel like I've been constantly trying to please those around me because I'm not really sure what my needs and convictions are anymore. And even when I think I do, they usually change in about 5 minutes, and I'm exhausted. Striving to make good use of this time, like there's some sort of unspoken challenge going on about what projects we can accomplish during the pandemic, putting endless pressure on myself to make sure I don't waste this time or do enough while I have this chance, like they're giving out medals at the end or something. Or we have to turn in a report when this is all over. So far, the pressure I've put on myself has had the reverse effect and has pretty much paralyzed me, so in 15 weeks I've organized 1 closet. Striving to be seen. So much of motherhood lives in the unseen. The repetitive tasks, the thankless jobs, the mundane, routine, boring, overlooked, and taken for granted. This is already such a lonely challenge of motherhood in the best of times, but in the times we faced over the last few months, it's felt crippling. I'm a part-time working mom, so I'm used to having a couple hours each weekday to leave the house and be seen, to have my work recognized and valued even a little, to be able to see the results of my effort in the short term, and to know I made even a little difference, to use the specific skills God is giving me in a focused capacity. And even if my students don't acknowledge or value it, my coworkers are a great source of encouragement to me. While lately, my only coworkers for the last 15 weeks have been an overly needy cat and a 4-year-old, and one of the things we're working on in general is gratitude, so it's pretty safe to say that the encouragement factor has been pretty low. And to all these things, I've been hearing God say to me, be still. Stop striving and be still. God uses these words in the Bible in Psalm 46:10. Be still and know that I am God. And in Exodus 14:14, the Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. So often the answer to everything we're fighting against is to simply stop fighting, to be still, and let God be God. Sometimes God will not step in until we stop, unless we finally stop striving and surrender our whole selves to Him. And for the record, I'm absolutely terrible at this. So if you feel like you've been failing, I have hopefully some encouragement for you. From 2 Corinthians 12:9-10, it says, "But He said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses, so that Christ's power may rest on me. That is why, for Christ's sake, I delight in weakness, in insults, in hardships, in persecutions, in difficulties. For when I am weak, then I am strong." Is this easy to do? Not at all. Who readily delights in hardships, weaknesses? But thank the Lord that He says, I don't have to be able to do everything all at once, or even everything at all. If I choose to be still and let Him, God will fill in the gaps, and He will remind me that I am enough, even when everything inside me says I am not. Feeling like you're not sure what to do, who to please, or pulled in all directions? First, we need to be still and remember, who are we trying to please, God or man, including ourselves? We need to seek to please God above all else. It says in 1 Thessalonians 2:4, we are not trying to please people but God, who tests our hearts. So what does God say? God says in Romans 13:1, let every person be subject to the governing authorities, for there are no authority except from God, and those that exist have been instituted by God. And beyond that, it says in James 1:5, if any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask God, who gives generously to all without reproach, and it will be given to him. There's no perfect way to navigate this, but if we seek God's wisdom, do our best to obey God and the authorities God has placed us under, and seek to selflessly love God and others through this, we will make it through to the other side. Do you feel like you've been stuck in a paralyzing comparison trap? In 2 Corinthians 10:12, it says, not that we dare to classify or compare ourselves with some of those who are commending themselves, but when they measure themselves by one another and compare themselves with one another, they are without understanding. God is using this time uniquely in each person and each family's life. No two quarantines look the same or have the same checklist of things that need to be done or accomplished. In fact, there isn't a checklist at all. Maybe God designed this to be a time of rest, family, self-care, or even just survival for you and your family, and mine too. Be still and remember this isn't a staycation where we can just casually pop out to the store and get all our long-awaited projects done. It's a global pandemic, in case anyone, me, needed to hear that. And if you're feeling unseen, even in our loneliest moments, when we feel so invisible, so unacknowledged, so taken for granted, so ineffective, so unvalued, God sees us. We don't need to strive to shout out our list of accomplishments for the day to anyone who will listen. We can stop striving and be still because God sees us. And he finds us in the lowest of our moments when we feel no one can see us at all. Just like he found Hagar in Genesis 16. Hagar fled after being mistreated by Sarai because she was pregnant by Abram, which was Sarai's idea, by the way. It says that the angel of the Lord found her. She didn't even have to seek God. He sent an angel to find her. That's how much we mean to God. And she was comforted and gave this name to the Lord. You are the God who sees me. Mothers, God sees you. He sees everything that you do. Every towel you fold, every sandwich you make, every meal you cook, every book you read, every bedtime, every diaper, every bath, everything. In this time when we can feel lonelier than ever, please know that God sees you and everything you do. He values you and every unseen thing you are doing to serve your family in this season. The beginning of my quarantine seemed to have the unintentional theme of striving. I'm going to work hard for the new theme to be still. I hope you can find some comfort and company in my words if you felt the same. I pray God can help us all to be still. Thanks.